Hey there, Fro Nation, and welcome back after a week off of FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk. I am here to fly solo, and the first part of this week's flying solo, you're going to get a little rundown of what is to come in the future of RAWtalk, and basically what I am doing right now as I wait to transition into the next chapter of my life, I guess, because it's next year with the moving coming in January and all of that good stuff. So I encourage you guys to hang on and listen as we go forward, and listen for the secret word. It's kind of like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse when you say the word but I don't have any talking couches or sofas here yet, and I don't have a mailman that knocks on my door or cowboy, but listen for the secret word. And when I say the secret word, we all yell, ah! But no, listen for the secret word. It's in there somewhere. So yeah, there you have it. So this week's episode is brought to you by, well, don't forget about the contest I'm running. It's let's see, it's 40 winners and $7,000 in prizes. It's free to enter. You can enter at FroKnowsPhoto.com/contest. You can also get entered to get a golden Fro pick. 20 people will find a golden Fro pick in their holiday orders, because there are different sales that are going on right now for the holidays. You can get a 5-shirt special, a 3-shirt special, a 1-shirt special, and discounts on hats and winter hats. Baseball hats are $14.99. They're no longer $17.99. So check them out. Check out the specials in the store, enter the contest, and good luck there. So I want to thank Allen's Camera for sponsoring this week. The place I go to get all my gear, allenscamera.com. If you're in the U.S., they will help you out and figure out what is best for you. They do ship in the U.S. Unfortunately, they do not ship around the world. But if you're in the United States, you can always check them out or give them a call on the phone, allenscamera.com. Thank you to BBO Poker Tables. .com. When I get my new place, I'll be putting my poker table back out and we'll sit around it again. Who else can we thank? We can thank Drobo. We can thank Vanguard. They're big sponsors on the holiday giveaway. That's how we could give away $7,000 worth of stuff to 40 different people. And as always, if you are looking to get out of auto, or you know somebody who's looking to get out of auto, the FroKnowsPhoto Beginner Guide is a great tool. Either the digital download or picking it up on DVD. It's a good gift, so check it out. So let's get into this week's FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk. Guess what, everybody? It's that time of month. No, not that time of month, but it's the time of month to fly solo, and it's Flying Solo 2.0. That's right. Second time I am going to fly solo. The first time, if you missed it, you can check out all of the past podcasts at FroKnowsPhoto.com/podcast. Flying solo is where I am here all by my lonesome to answer your questions that you guys posed to me via Facebook when I put up a comment asking you for cool questions. So I've gone through, I've picked a bunch of them, and now I am going to pretty much just start this RAWtalk and get to your questions in the not too distant future. But I want to do some house cleaning first things and first foremosts and all that good stuff. Now that my English is working a little bit, house cleaning, what is in the future for RAWtalk? As many of you guys know, I have moved home since I've been out of my loft now since September 3rd. Well, I guess October 1st. It's been 2 months, man. I've been out of the loft for 2 months. I've got another 2 months to go until I go to my new place. So that is why I'm in one of these holding patterns with RAWtalk. I really enjoy the RAWtalks where I am sitting around my poker table with Leora, Richie, different guests, sometimes traveling to do RAWtalks, which I'll be going up next week into New York to record a cool RAWtalk, and that one's going to be a good one with a really cool guest. But I love having guests into my house. I love sitting around in the environment and not having, the Skype conversation, because anybody can do a Skype conversation. It's more fun when you're in person, you're together, you can throw black chips across the table to give somebody some points, and we'll definitely get back into the old way of doing the RAWtalk as I move into my new place. Now, that's not going to happen until probably the end of January, if not the early portions of February, but I can't wait to do that and really keep expanding RAWtalk and make it that weekly thing. Sometimes maybe take a week off, give us a little break, but I know a lot of you guys like RAWtalk, and I enjoy it as well. I'm going to make a quick note here on my paper for those of you who can't see. It's going to be the secret word. You know how I've been saying different words each week, where it's like, hey, say something like bald is beautiful and tweet it out or put it on Facebook. And that's something that I hide somewhere near the end. So it's going to be pretty cool to do that again. So before I get into your questions, there were some new toys that came into Allen's this week, and actually that got delivered to me, something new that I got. So I wanted to touch base about those first. And we have the Nikon 70-200 F4 VR. Kind of in the video, I called it the 70-200 2.8 F4. Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake, but it happens. It happens. So we've seen the 70-200 VR F4 in Germany. No, we didn't see it in Germany. We saw it at Photo Plus in New York City. And it's a F4. It's not a 2.8. It's much lighter, but it has the new 5-stop VR. Where it used to be 3 stops of low light capability, and then it was 4 stops with the VR2, and now with this new one, and it's only in the 70-200 F4 right now, you get 5 stops of handhold ability in lower light situations, or with what I found out, and the video is up on the website right now. I put up a quick review of it until I put up the full review, where I put it next to the 70-200 2.8 VR2. There was a Porsche outside, and I decided to do some video testing because I think that is the key to the 70-200 almost did it again. The 70-200 F4 VR. The key is that is a killer video range. And what makes it a killer video range is the fact that I can handhold it out at 200 millimeters and with the VR on have amazingly stable video. To get something zoomed out to 200 and to hand hold that and not have any shake whatsoever and not be on a tripod is just insanity. And you can see the video on the site where I turn the VR. It starts with it off, then you hear it click on, and you see how amazingly still it becomes. So that's cool. And then for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube right now, you can see the Canon 6D that is in my hands, and this is Mr. Mark Arnold's 6D, by the way. He won this from the FroKnowsPhoto Beginner Guide. There was the one entry you got for purchasing the guide, and then there was the free way to enter on you had to sign up for my email list, and randomly out of all of those entries, Mark's was picked, and he's in New Jersey, and he's going to be receiving this camera, but not until I am done sniffing it and playing with it. He gave me permission to review this camera, take it to a hockey game, which I'm going to do with it tomorrow after this is recorded, and make another cool video shooting hockey. But it's basically the review of the Canon 6D. That's why I'm taking it out there. I borrowed the 70-200 Sigma 2.8 OS for Canon from Nikon, from Allen, and I also borrowed a 16-35 so I could make the video of me talking to the camera because I want to do the same type of review that I did with the D600. And then, what else? Oh, yeah. I got a GoPro Hero 3, the Black Edition, in the mail the other day. So I have a preview of that coming. It's kind of like an unboxing / sniff test type thing where I talk about what I like, what I don't like right off the bat. Not really about the quality, but I have a pretty good inclination that the quality of this new GoPro is going to be insane. And with that said, I'm going to be testing it next week in Aruba. Yeah, why not? Why not go test a camera in an extreme environment of Aruba, where it's always 84 degrees on average, and it's on the equator, and they have nice water, and they have good food, and I hear it's amazing there, and I'll be on the beach, so I will be playing with my GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition in the waters and the oceans of Aruba. I've never been there. I hope it's good. It's definitely been on my list as a place to go. Hold on as I drink some water. Yes. So, before we get to your questions, I want to remind you guys about the contest that's going on for the holiday. It's the FroKnowsPhoto Holiday Contest. It's worth $7,000 in prizes, and there are 40 winners, 20 of which are being sent golden Fro pics when they pick up something in the FroKnowsPhoto store, and then you can enter for free at froknowsphoto.com/contest to be selected at random starting on December 4th for 20 straight days on Facebook. I am going to select a winner from the random drawing for the people who entered for free on the website, and I'll be posting their name, and it won't be till the very end when we have all 40 participants or all 40 winners' names that we'll literally pick from a hat. We'll have 40 names in the 40 prizes. They'll be split off. Pick a name, pick a prize. 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 And do that 40 times. And then we'll have our winners of all the cool gear, and we'll get that shipped out, and we'll move on. So questions. Flying solo is about questions. We'll start right here at the top. We've got a question from David Murray. What is the best way, what is the best way to sell prints via your own website, pricing / shipping / payment, etc. Wow. We could type without the periods, and I'll read it without the periods. What is the best way to sell prints via your own website? Pricing, shipping, payment, etc. So it's a good question. There are some really good options out there these days for selling your prints online, selling your art, selling anything. I mean, we're not talking like an Etsy store where you can put up stuff and you still have to print it and then sell it. We're talking about a thing like Zenfolio. We're talking about something like, what are they called? SmugMug. Oh God, I almost forgot both of those. So both Zenfolio and SmugMug offer you not just abilities to put up a store and print your images, but they also can build websites, and it's not very expensive. But I liked what Zenfolio did when I had it, and I would use it for weddings. So, for example, what you do is you put up, say, the 10 images that you want to sell, or if you just shot a party or a dance or a wedding or a sporting event, and you want people to come to your site to purchase something, you then basically you set the price of the pictures you want. You can sell 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s, up to poster prints. You can sell the digital download. Say you want that to be $25 to sell the file. Well, people can come to the site, they can purchase whatever they want, and what happens is you set the price. And when you set the price, that's going to include the cost of the print, the shipping of the print, and everything. So you say, the print's going to cost me $2. I want to sell it for $15. Well, it's $15 plus shipping. And so what happens is they place the order, and you have the larger size JPEGs already stored in the system for Zenfolio and for SmugMug. And so it finds that file and it uploads it to one of the printers that you select, like MPix, and I don't know if White House Color is on there, and Bay Photo. There's a bunch of different photo places. I don't know if Adorama Pix takes part in that or not, but they upload the pictures there, they print them, and they ship them right to the person who ordered them. But better yet, they paid via credit card. All that Zenfolio does is take out a small percentage plus the cost of the print, and you're basically turnkeying this. You don't have to do anything. They do the printing, they do the shipping, they collect the money, and all they do is, I don't know if they direct deposit or just send you a check for the sales that you're making. So that, to me, is the best way to sell prints online via your website, because you can put these galleries up on your website and people can purchase things. So if I wanted to sell 10 art prints, I would basically put up this site through Zenfolio, and I would literally have the prints shipped to me so I could sign them and number them and then send them out. But you can do any options you want. You can just have it sent straight from the printer right to the person who ordered it. Now that's a great option. So that's a good question. Yes, drinking water. So the next one plays on part to this first one too. It's from Stephen Heath. Pro home printers versus third-party online printing services. I have never, let me rephrase this, once. I pretty much have never owned a home printer to do photo printing. Back in the day when I didn't know any better and I was still shooting film, I bought like an Epson Photo something, And it did great for black and white. It did terrible for color. It's expensive to maintain. It's expensive to print. You have to color calibrate your monitor to match your machine, which you should probably do anyway to match the a third-party printer if you were going to do that. But I personally think it's best to send your prints out, or send for your prints, upload to a site like MPix, Adorama Pix, White House Color, Miller's Professional Services. You've got that Bay Photo. There's a ton of different places online to order prints, and the expense, it's so much less expensive. Sure, you pay for printing, and sure, you've got to wait a day or two. A place like MPix may have next day delivery for $7 or something. It's like automatic for like next day delivery. And I'll tell you this, if you're if you're a Miller's Professional, which also operates MPix, you get free overnight shipping no matter what when you order from them. So that's a good thing if you get accepted to be a part of that. But I'm a big fan of ordering my prints online because, you know, the expense that goes into buying a printer. You want to buy a good printer, you're spending over $1,000. You're spending $1,200. You got to buy each cartridge. Some of these machines now take 9 cartridges, 10 cartridges. Some have different for glossy. They've got photo black. They got matte black and glossy black and matte purple and magenta and yellow. And then they've got this, and you're spending like $90 a cartridge for the big cartridges. The stuff's like more expensive than gasoline and gold and all this. And you know, the paper's expensive. It's not a real photographic print. We don't know. They say they're archival, but they haven't been around 100 years yet to determine whether they're going to be here. And we probably won't be here either if we're listening to this 100 years from now, unless you're a infant listening to this in your parents' arms. Then you're probably not going to be here in 100 years to know if the inkjets lasted, or if anything lasted, because December 21st is coming, but not that I believe in that or anything. So really, I just don't like the fact that you have to buy a printer, and then in another year or two they put out a new printer that's probably better than the old printer. And I don't think, you know, I'd rather spend $2,000 on getting prints made than trying to recoup that $2,000 on all the prints that I may do from home. So if you're not really printing a lot, if you're printing a ton, and you're on location and you need to turn it around quickly, that's a place where an inkjet printer is going to be good for you. But if you're just looking to get prints made for clients and you can wait a day or two, maybe 3 at the most, I take the option for a real wet print, meaning it went through actual chemicals. It's exposed to light, and it goes through the chemicals, and then they ship it to you, and you have a real print. I think you're going to save money in the long run. There's no upgrading fees, you know, costs to getting new printers and maintaining the inks and all of this stuff. Saves yourself time. You don't have to buy paper, and you're good to go. So that's my recommendation. No home printers for me. I order from online, and there you go. So now we got a question from Cody Cochran. Do you ask your clients, would they rather have raw pictures or edited, or how do you determine whether you edit them or keep them as shot? Well, okay. We'll start at the beginning. I'll talk about this last part first. How do you know which ones you're going to edit? Well, I don't edit every single RAW file. I go through each file from a photo shoot, and I star the ones that I'm going to edit. Because if I'm not going to use the image, I'm not going to sit there and process it. But I don't delete them. I keep them just in case I go back in a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, 20 years to possibly find something that I may have missed, a diamond in the rough. So I would not edit everything because it takes a while, but edit the ones that you're going to use. Can you ask your clients, let's see, do you ask your clients, would they rather have raw? Well, I'm not delivering any clients raw pictures. They're not going to get the raw files. Why are they not getting the raw files? Because it's my style that they're asking me for. If I let them edit the raw pictures, then it's their style of how they would edit it. When I'm delivering pictures, part of the battle is taking the picture, and the other part of the battle is how I would process the image to deliver to them. So they're getting final edited images. It's a very, very rare situation that anybody is going to get a raw file. I know that I think I sent them back in the day to Rolling Stone because they needed them for printing. They would tweak the raw file from there, but I'm not going to give a client a raw file. One, they don't know what to do with it for the most part. And two, I don't want them having that to edit it themselves. I want to deliver it the way that I want to deliver it, and that's how I do it. So I edit the RAW file, I export the full res JPEG or the low res, whatever we're going to deliver, and they get a edited JPEG file. Yeah. So that's really it. I don't really need to say too much on that. Or how do you determine whether you edit? Yeah, we already answered that. Then we got Al Flash Barber. Is it okay to kiss on the first date? I think so. I don't see why it wouldn't be okay to kiss on the first date. I mean, isn't that the point? I mean, I know you're supposed to wait. Not for that, but other things. I guess it all depends on how you feel and if you want to. So yes, it is okay to do that on the first date. All right, we got another question from Maddie Wookie Simpson. Maddie Wookie Simpson, who had a question last time, also had a good question this time for flying solo. How do you make money when shooting bands? ? When you get a pass to shoot the event and you take photos of a band, do they then buy the photos from you? Or is there no money in that sort of photography? Ding, 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 ding. I don't want to burst people's bubbles, but there is money. But it's not easy to get. A lot of bands, one, don't have money because they're struggling bands. When you get into the big bands that have a ton of money, they're working with really big photographers or people that have been with them since day one. So part of the dilemma with shooting musicians and bands is that very few people want to pay you to go and shoot. They'll throw you a couple bucks, they'll throw you a free ticket, they'll throw you a photo pass, they'll buy you some drinks, maybe even not buy you some drinks. That's backstage, you can take your drinks and maybe get some food. They don't even pay for your parking or your travel, or sometimes you can travel with the band. So there's not a ton of money to be made shooting musicians. If they have the money, then you can possibly make some, but that's if you're in with these guys and they trust you and they want to hire you to do a photo shoot. But I've had times where people are like, oh, we'll pay you $100 to come out and shoot our band and give us everything. You know, just give us all the files. We'll do whatever we want. And I'm like, no. Wrong answer. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to give you all the prints, and I'm actually not going to shoot for $100. That's not saying that I won't at times do it for nothing because I want to, because sometimes you just want to shoot just to shoot and then deliver whatever you want to deliver. But, you know, the times I've made money with concerts, I've toured with bands and gotten paid to tour. I've shot concerts for Rolling Stone, Spin Magazine, my own magazines, and I've got paid that way. But it's not an uber-duper fantastically amount of money. So a lot of it is doing it for the fun of it. You go out to a show, you get into the show, and then that kind of ruins it for a lot of people because there's a lot of people out there who shoot for free because they get into the show and the band likes them enough to let them shoot and basically takes all the photos and does whatever they want with them. They rather not pay if they can get something for free, and they don't sometimes care as much about quality because they're getting a lot of pictures for free and they didn't have to pay for them. It's this endless cycle of people not wanting to pay you to shoot concerts. But there, you know, you can find it. It's not easy. It does exist, but really, there's not a lot of money in concert photography. So that's really that. Zach Christensen, how important is it to have personal photo projects? You should always have a project to photograph. If you're only shooting for work, then it's just like it's a job. But if you're actually going to go out there and do something and have an idea like, I want to shoot X, or I want to do a photo story, or I want to try this each weekend, then you're separating yourself from the work environment. Photography shouldn't feel like it's a job. It really shouldn't feel like a job. It should feel like I go and I get paid to take pictures. But then you should also have stuff for the love of the game, for the love of going out and shooting the macro shots of bees and bumbles and birds and butterflies and all of that stuff. You know, that's the kind of thing that you would want to have a personal project for. I mean, that's in my opinion. I think it's important to have a personal project because it brings it back to what makes it fun for you. Because if photography becomes not fun, it becomes another job that you hate and you don't want to go to work on Monday. Somebody once told me if it's Sunday and you don't want to go to work on Monday, you don't feel like going, it's time to find a new job. I know it's easier said than done for some, but really, yes, have a personal project. Moving on, Doug Metzel. Thoughts about using the standard Nikon or Canon straps and looking like a tourist? I don't worry about looking like a tourist with my camera. You're either a tourist or you're a photographer. I mean, I don't think a camera strap is going to make you look more or less like a tourist. You know, having a strap around your neck, one of the regular Nikons, I did that forever. Actually, I took off the straps. I never used the camera straps until the Black Rapids came around, and that's what I started to use, and I continue to use it now, and I like that strap a lot, and I hope that they finally give me let me produce the Black Rapid RS FRO Edition RS Sport strap, which I hope to. But, you know, I don't think that using those straps is going to make you look like a tourist. I think people can see who the tourists are and who the tourists aren't. And this also goes to those disguise bags, or those bags that try to sell themselves as, these are discreet and you don't want people knowing you have camera gear with you because they could steal it from you. Well, if you're out on a photo shoot, you're going to be shooting pictures. So I think the fact that you have a camera with a 70-200 2.8 on the front of it is going to tip people off that you're a photographer. So disguising your camera bag isn't going to stop somebody from coming after you. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand when people sit there and say, well, I don't want to look like a photographer when I'm out. I don't want people knowing that I have camera gear. So what are you going to do? Leave your cameras in your bag all day and be like, oh, this isn't a camera bag. This is a backpack that looks like not a camera bag because it has my camera gear in it, but I'm afraid to take it out because I don't want to shoot and I don't want to get robbed. So really, this mentality of, you know, Think Tank has bags that are like disguise, urban disguise. You know, they're good, but so it's a camera bag that looks like a camera bag. I mean, shit, people are gonna see you shooting pictures. And if you're walking around with a backpack, yeah, okay, it doesn't look like a camera bag. All right, well, who knows? Somebody's gonna see you shooting somewhere. So I don't think it's a big deal. And I don't think, traveling around and looking like a tourist and all of this is, just try not to be don't wear a fanny pack. Don't be Ken Rockwell, you know? Don't wear a fanny pack out to shoot with your khakis and your tucked-in yellow shirt and fanny pack and shooting well, we don't even want to get into that discussion, do we? I'm going to drink some water. So really, thoughts about using the standard Nikon? Use whatever strap you want. You're not going to look like a tourist. I mean, you may. All right, so we got to go through this one. We got J. Scott Photography. This is a long comment, and I picked it because it's a good comment. In one of your recent podcasts, you commented that you prefer to shoot the photos, do basic retouching, and present them to a client in a digital format as opposed to selling prints. As well, we all know that you prefer to fill the frame and almost never crop. I appreciate your reasons for both. I try not to crop much, if at all, but I do still prefer to sell prints to clients to prevent them from being printed by companies whose prints are garbage so that my work is shown as best as it possibly can be. Do we need to have the B at the end? Any English majors out there? I think it could just end with the best as it possibly can. Where I have run into problems is that when I do fill the frame and do not crop at all, I have had a few unfortunate times where the beautiful filled frame can't be printed at the tighter aspect ratio, such as an 8x10 or an 11x14. They have to be 8x12 prints are just as nice, and frames are not impossible to find, but some people really want that 8x10. I've considered not even showing them the photo, but when it's a great photo, uncropped, with a nicely filled frame, I want them to see it. What are your thoughts about these situations and the best way to appease the client? Thank you, and I have really, I have really been loving the podcast. Well, thank you, Jay. Really good questions. Let's start at the top. I don't have a problem delivering the digital prints, and I think that yes, we want our prints to be done really well when we deliver them to the client, or we want to deliver them to the client really well. But when we're delivering digital files to, say, a wedding client, they're going to take them and get them printed themselves. They may even retouch the files that you give them and mess them up, and maybe even HDR them or do whatever weird thing that they want to do. So you have to get into the mindset of separating yourself from really, really worrying about it. You're kind of not going to have control over it unless you never give your prints away. Never give your files away. So I've gotten to the point where, if I'm delivering the digital prints, the digital files, I hope that they don't crop them to death. I hope that they don't change the color too much. I don't want it representing me in a poor way if somebody gets it printed bad. But you can't be in control of everything all the time, so I've kind of distanced myself from worrying about it. I deliver the files to the client, say it's a wedding client, and then if they want to make the prints, they're going to print them. I recommend them places to have prints made, but shit, they're going to do whatever they want to do with them no matter what, and you can't really worry too much about it, and yes, I understand that you don't want to look bad if somebody prints a bad photo and they say that it's your work, but really you can't worry too much about that. So then the bottom question's a really good one. How do you put a full frame print on an 8x10, on 11x14, on a 16x20 aspect ratio? This is what I do, and you have to educate the client on why you're going to give them a print that's going to look like what I'm going to explain. I would not show them the really awesome images if you don't think they crop into an interesting aspect ratio. And I'll be honest, because this is RAWtalk, and it's where I'm honest. I'm always honest, actually. I've cropped to 8x10 for people, because I don't want to, educate them on why an 8x10 is full frame, and I don't think they really give a crap about what full frame is versus not full frame. They want that 8x10. They want their MTV. They want it because that's what they're trained over the past 50, 60 years, is to know that 8x10 is a format that they think they want, which makes no sense. I still don't remember where 8x10s came from. Probably, I don't know. Somebody leave a comment and tell me where the 8x10 came from. I think I Googled this and read about it, and I forgot because I always say that. But here is the answer for how to print a full-frame picture on an 8x10, 11x14, 16x20 on something that doesn't have the aspect ratio that you're looking for. It's really simple. You take an 8x10 canvas, or 8x10 in Photoshop. You open up an 8x10. You take the image that you have, you make it smaller than 8x10, using the proper aspect ratio. You copy it, you paste it right into the middle of that 8x10, boom, you've got white borders. That's how you get full frame on an 8x10, 11x14, 16x20, or anything that doesn't have the proper aspect ratio to be an 8x12. And you tell the clients, look, if I was to crop this, we would lose this. It was shot this way, this is full frame. I'm going to deliver it with the white borders. It's going to look great in a frame with a matte, so it gives you a place to frame it and have the matte and not lose any of this amazing image. So really the answer is you print it full frame with white borders on whatever size print you're going to do. I've done it with 11x14s, 8x10s, and 16x20s. It's just the nature of the beast. You leave it uncropped, printed full frame, and you just explain it to people. So it's an educational thing. You've got to educate people if you want to take the time to do it. But if somebody's asking and it only hurts you to crop off the 2 inches from an 8x10, from the 8x12, and they don't care, they just want the picture, sometimes it's not worth a battle. Just take the money and run. It's not always about the money either, but it's also about the aggravation of trying to explain it. Just sometimes you got to give in. Even I will give in at those points and not even try to explain it and just go, oh yeah, this is an 8x10. I hope you enjoy it. Drinking some water. So that's really it, man. That's how we do that one. Now we've got a question from Ben Hayden. He goes, how did Adam Lerner and Adam Lerner meet? I'm assuming it means, how did you and Adam Lerner meet? Adam was a reader of the site very early on in the days. Adam, spends a lot of time on Flickr looking at people's work to see what people are doing, to get a feel for what's out there, and it's a really good way to become a better photographer. See what other people do, analyze the work, see how the lighting is done. So Adam submitted a photo to the Flickr photo group, and I picked it. And we did a photo of the day or photo of the week or whatever, and we discussed it, and we talked on Skype, and we seemed to have a lot in common. We both were into the music scene, we're photographers, we got along, we just seemed to have these cool conversations, and we just started talking on Skype a lot, talking about photography, just thinking about talking shop, and it's just cool to meet other people that have the same interests as you, because there's times when I go out and people are talking about cars and skateboards and stuff that I don't know anything about, and I feel left out of the conversation. But when I'm around my photographer friends, like I go out with Richie, or I go out with Adam, or I meet Richie and Adam Loiner and a bunch of other, like 4 other photographers at the bowling alley at the bar, and just hang out. It's so awesome just to hang out with these guys. We speak the same language. So Adam and I spoke the same language, and that's really how we met. We just started talking via Skype through the website, and he's knowledgeable, and it's a great, he's a cool guy, and we've hung out, and we've traveled now the world, and it's just really cool to have a friend like that. And that's, I guess, part of the Fro Nation, is you meet people and you become friends. I know that Ryan Connors and Jackie are friends via the computer, and Linda Stroud and all these guys are all coming together because the community, that's how we met. So that's the story of how Adam and I met, and we'll live happily ever after. There, take that. Next question, Damon Steinke. I'm going with that, Damon. Damon Steinke. The reason I'm going to go with that, if you drop the K-E at the end, it's S-T-E-I-N, which is Stein. Add the K-E and you get Steinke. I hope I'm right. Please let me know if I am. In your opinion, I didn't check the English. In your opinion, be excel at being a photographer, should you only focus on one type of subject or learn to shoot multiple subjects? I shoot nature and auto racing. Should I stick to just one or branch out? To me, this is a pretty simple answer. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't just learn one thing. I mean, yes, do something and do it really freaking well. Become the best nature photographer, the best auto racing photographer, but also try everything else that is out there. Because if you are looking to make money at photography, you want to get more jobs. And when somebody comes to you and goes, I saw you're shooting an auto racing event, and I know Jackie has done this in the past. She shoots auto racing, the go-karts and stuff. So she just isn't good at shooting go-karts. Somebody may be there and see her and go, oh, I love your go-kart shots. By the way, do you shoot family portraits? Can you do business portraits? I need this done at my work environment. And if you don't do portraits, what are you going to say? No? It's really a good way to subsidize getting your gear is to have other jobs and to make money. And then, you can't be turning those things down, so learn multiple subjects, whatever you can shoot. Learn flash, learn portraits, and even if you don't like it, at least know how to do it so that you can make the informed decision. When somebody calls you and says, can you do this? You go, okay, yeah, let's do it. I've done this before. Here's some samples. So don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't get stuck doing just one thing, in my opinion. So Caleb Stewart's got a question. It's a burning question that a lot of people have. It's a good one. I'm drinking water again. So the question, buy two 7000s, I'm assuming Nikon D7000s, instead of one D600. Always need a backup, period. Is this a question? It needs to have a question mark at the end, Caleb. Buy two D7000s instead of one 600, always need a backup. Wow. Let's rephrase this. I'll just put the words in his mouth. Should I buy two D7000s or should I buy a D600? Do you always need a backup? Question mark. I shot for the longest time without a backup. I currently shoot now without a professional backup. Knocking on my forehead, knocking on some wood, because you don't want to run into a situation where you don't have a backup. Sure, I've got a D7000 sitting around. I've got this Canon 6D for a couple days until I have to send it out to Mark Arnold, who was the winner of that contest. My opinion when it comes to buying gear, especially bodies, is that they're really expensive. A D4 is $6,000. Do I want a second D4? Sure. Would I spend the $6,000 to have a D4 backup? Hell no. Did I have a backup to my D2H that was a D2H? No. Didn't have a D2X to a backup of my D2X. Didn't have a D3 or a D3S to back up my D3S. I've risked it. I've bought professional gear because I expect it to work. Yes, that's a risky thing to do. but I don't think it's smart to buy two D7000s to have one sitting in the bag and one shooting and then rotate it, or put two lenses on it and shoot different lenses. That, to me, that's not my thing. Some people like shooting with two bodies. A lot of the times you don't really need to shoot with two bodies. If you can afford it, oh shit, sorry, excuse my language. If you have the options between a D7000 and a D600, take the D600 all day long if you can afford it, and then put good glass on it. It's a full frame body. So I would not have that type of backup. I would not double up, because if I spent 12 grand buying two D4s, in 2 years when they replace the stinking camera with a D4S or whatever they're going to do, I am going to be SOL, because I lost half the value. I lost $6,000 in 2 years on the bodies, whereas if you pay $6 grand and you sell the thing for $4,000 or $4,500 when the next one comes out, you're not doing too bad. Or if you have a pro, like a D600, you know, you could have a D7000 as a backup. You could have a D5100. You could have a D3200 for all I know. But, you know, that's just an emergency thing. I don't think you should keep a pro body in your bag as a backup unless you're a full-time pro that's getting paid a ton of money, going on a ton of jobs where you want to use the best of the best of the best with honors, sir, to get your, to make sure you have a backup. So there's the secret word for today, by the way. The secret phrase that I'd like you to tweet out or put on the Facebook this week, because letting me know that you listen to the podcast, is best of the best of the best with honors, sir. And you don't have to do the salute if you're watching, but best of the best of the best with honors, sir. Put that up on Twitter with @FroKnowsPhoto. Put the best of the best of the best with honors, sir on there, or FroKnowsPhoto. Or Facebook.com/FroKnowsPhoto. Love to see this stuff. I love seeing what you guys think and then seeing that you were listening and watching. That's cool. Now we've got from Nidgelug Sanders. Nidgelug, Nidgeluhg Sanders. If you could shoot any band/gig, who would it be and why? Live or dead? He's saying that they would do Jimi Hendrix. It was his birthday last week. It's one of his... Okay. Who would I shoot? If you could shoot any band/gig, who would it be and why? Live or dead? I mean, the Beatles were so iconic. I mean, that's in music. Like, I would love to have shot the Beatles. Or maybe even shot the Rat Pack back in the day. To be around the freaking Rat Pack would have been insane. Those guys were nuts. Could you imagine that in the 40s, the 30s, 40s, and 50s being with those guys? You know, your Frank Sinatra? That would have been awesome. So that would be a cool gig, to be a fly on the wall like that, or touring with the Rolling Stones or the Beatles and traveling the world that way. But if I was to pick a non-gig, a non-band type person to shoot, I mean, I'd pick somebody I'd want to hang out with. Like a Carl Sagan, right? A guy like Carl Sagan, who was taken way before his time because of cancer, who was just an unbelievable visionary genius, just looked at the world, looked at the universe, looked at us as beings as in a whole different light than other people did. It would be fascinating to sit and have a conversation and a discussion and photograph a guy like Carl Sagan. To me, it's not all about just photographing awesomely cool people. It's about photographing these cool people that have a story and getting the whole story out and not just taking a picture. So yeah, I would shoot that. But who? You know, Carl Sagan, Albert Einstein would be awesome to photograph. Who would you guys want to photograph? Leave a comment on the Facebook. Who would you photograph, live or dead, if you could shoot anybody, band or otherwise? Yeah. I mean, I think those are pretty cool. Albert Einstein would be amazing. Another guy that you want to sit there and photograph and listen to. But you never know who's going to become iconic. That's always the weird thing with photos. It's like, you shoot a band today, do you think they're going to go in? It's like, you think a photo of Bieber today is going to be an iconic photo tomorrow? Probably not. It's so... You don't go out to... You don't set out to create iconic photos. Iconic photos, sometimes, they happen. One of the shots I took that I guess, quote-unquote, became an iconic photo for my work was the Perry Farrell in his underwear. It may not be my favorite image from that tour, but it became known as, that picture that everybody stops and looks at, and it becomes their favorite. It became an iconic photo of Perry Farrell. It was published in Rolling Stone US, Rolling Stone Germany, and he loved that shot. So, yeah, that's that type of image. Let's see. So, yeah, who would you guys shoot? Mark Hardy. He didn't just ask a question, did he? No. Here's a question. What is your retirement plan? And by that, I mean to sustain yourself when your joints are too stiff to work with. Would you, for example, like to set up a photography school, have a string of camera shops like Alan, move FroKnowsPhoto to a TV network, or have a studio, or maybe a music venue? It can be anything, just why you aim towards for that, Mo et in old age. It really says Mo, M-O, next word, E-T in old age. Retirement plan. Yes, I have an actual retirement fund that I put money into to have money one day. But what I plan on doing is doing what I'm doing, creating, making content, enjoying what I go out and shoot, helping others. I don't think I would not open a school. I think a nonprofit is more of something that I would do because it's global. I would do something more global like I've done with the website, opposed to doing something more local. That's what I feel right now. I just feel like someday having a production company to help, you get talent and they create content and you help inspire them, or you produce them and things like that. I can see that. I can see making more shows. I don't know if moving something to a TV network, because TV is kind of passé at this point when you can reach the world online, especially through YouTube and things like that. So really, my retirement plan is to keep this up, to keep making content, to keep educating people, to keep doing this type of stuff. As long as I'm happy and enjoying it, then I'm going to keep doing it. Flying solo. I hope you guys enjoy flying solo. And just so you know, it's like flying solo may be a once a month thing, maybe once every 5-6 weeks. I don't want to do it too often because I really enjoy interviewing people and sitting around the tables. So I really hope you enjoy the Raw Talks. You guys like the Raw Talks where I'm flying solo. So we're almost done with this one. I've got a couple more. I think it's 4 or so more questions, and then we'll call it a day. But next week's Raw Talk, if I have something really cool scheduled, a really cool guest. He's not a photographer, but he's huge in his industry, just huge in his industry, and I learned so much from him, and I hope that you guys can learn a lot from him. But that's coming up, I believe, next week. So Dustin Gwynn says, Fro, whatever happened to Elora? Leora is her name, Liora. Leora, is she ever going to be back on RAWtalk? Also, what is your take on Nikon's apparent restructuring of their models? Are we to believe that the D7000 or its replacement is to be a flagship DX camera and all others above that will be FX? Will there be a D300S? Blah, 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 blah. I'm really not going to answer that second part. I'll answer the first part. Yes, Leora will be back on RAWtalk when I move into my place. When I start sitting around my poker table again, like I said in the beginning, we can have Leora back in. We can have Richie back in. Cycle through different guests, rotate it around, and get back into those styles of RAWtalks. And the FroKnowsPhoto show live. Yes, live. It's like a Raw Talk, except it's live, and I really want to sit with guests and run pre-roll videos and make it like a TV show like we used to, and interact with you guys and have questions and get Gizzy back in there, and that's what I'm looking to do. That would be a lot of fun. We got Larry Sanders asking, Saul, an ad that stated it was excellent exposure opportunity. What's your thoughts on these gigs? Do you think that people's opinions of you as a photographer would be different if you were doing it for free or you are getting paid? As to say this guy must be good because he's getting paid, or this guy is not so good because he's doing it for free. So this is something to be very careful about. When somebody is going out there and saying excellent exposure opportunity, it puts up a red flag right away. They are saying that they don't want to pay you right off the bat, and they're using the BS statement that it's a great exposure opportunity. It's not always BS, but a lot of the times it's BS. They want free work. Hey, we can't pay you. We don't want to pay you, but it's an excellent exposure opportunity. You have to weigh the options. Yes, you have to get out there and work with, be seen. The more you're seen, the more you interact, the more you schmooze, the more you talk and make friends with people that you see out there at these events, the more chances you have to get more paying gigs. So an excellent exposure opportunity is something that if it's really a good idea and it sounds good and you think you can benefit from it, you dictate the rules of this. You say, look, I normally charge you X amount of dollars for this. What I would like for you to do, since I'm going to do it for nothing, maybe pay for my parking, let me have dinner, cover this, but you dictate the terms. You tell them what they're going to get. Don't let them tell you what you're going to give them, because they're not paying you, so they don't hold a gun to your head saying you must give me these prints. You agree on something like, look, I'm going to do this because it is a really good exposure opportunity. Here is what I'm going to deliver you. In the future, if you'd like to purchase something, then we can work that out. But right now, this is what I'm comfortable in giving you. And if they balk at that, if they start to give you crap and say, no, that's not acceptable, you need to give me everything I want, walk away. Don't be afraid to walk away. These people don't dictate to you. They're not paying you. They don't dictate to you what you can and can't, what they get. It's up to you to tell them, especially if they're not paying you. So be very careful with the words exposure, excellent exposure opportunity. And here's something that you'll learn as well. A lot of times people say, do this gig now for nothing, and there's plenty of more really good ones in the future. That's a tough road to hoe. The reason that's a tough road to hoe is because you don't know that there's more gigs in the future. I'm not in a place where I won't give somebody a discount or cut them a break or take care of them on the back end. Not in that way, but take care of them in the back way. In the back way. In the back end. Again. I don't mind cutting people a break. But that's after you know me. And that's after we're friends. You don't go the back way until you know somebody. So if somebody's saying, look, do this job for free, and there's 6 more in the future, are they going to pay you in the future? So be like, look, I'll maybe take a little bit off this time, or let's do it at this price now, and when you like my work and those 5 or 6 other jobs come up, I'll take care of you then. Because then you already have one under your belt, they're willing to pay. But if they're just giving you crap and they're not going to pay and they're just saying, do this free, you may never hear from them again. I had somebody try this in the music industry. They're like, oh, well, we've got lots of great opportunities for you in the future, but if you don't do this for us now, we're not going to give them to you. You know what? If you don't give a crap, if you're not into it because of my work, then I'm not gonna just bend over backwards and do it for you. So, you have to weigh the options. It's either a good, and don't be afraid to take one of them if you can, and it's not taking away from you doing something else, and seeing if it works out for you. Go with your gut a lot of the times. I go with my gut a lot. And if my gut's telling me that it's probably BS, it's probably BS. And sometimes I go against my gut and go, you know what? It may be good for me to get out there and see these people or put myself into this situation. And then what happens sometimes is I get into that situation and I go, this is exactly what I expected. I didn't expect it to be great. But then you get those people who will tell you, well, if you didn't expect it to be great, then it's your fault because you made that happen and all that. Drinking water. So really, it's a job-by-job thing. You got to determine what works for you. So 2 more questions here, and then we're going to wrap up this week's edition of RAWtalk, Flying Solo Part 2.0. Ben Garcia asks, fisheye, ? Cool in moderation? ? Yes, the fisheye is cool in moderation. I would not buy a fisheye as your first or second lens. Fisheyes are really meant for a certain type of image. You use it sparingly, because if all you do is shoot fisheye shots, I saw this in a guy's concert book. Every single shot was a fisheye. It's shot wide, it's shot the same way every time, the corners bow. It just gets annoying after a while because it's a fisheye. It's like spraying and praying. You can shoot and get everything in the image. It's a moderation thing. You use it like on a photo shoot, I may take 2 or 3 pictures with the fisheye and be done with it because I just wanted that extra look of something else. So I wouldn't purchase a fisheye until I have something else better, until I have a need for it, until I've already picked up the better glass, and then I don't, and then I go from there. So fisheye in moderation is okay. Mitchell Cochran, I know you like to get it right in the camera. So what's your opinion on techniques like the Brennisier method? Brennisier method. It's not a brassiere, it's a Brennisier. So I've met him before. I met him. He's a wedding photographer. He goes all over the world shooting a lot of weddings. He's got this method. I think it's freaking fantastic. He's got a method named after him. How cool is that in this day and age, in the social world, that you have a method named after you? Google it if you don't know what it is. I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability. I watched him do a video. It's basically shooting wide angle and having the subject majorly isolated because everything else is bokeh and out of focus. I probably didn't explain it well. It takes like 20 or 30 pictures and they all get stitched together at different bokehs, and it's pretty insane. I'm all for that. I mean, I'm all for you trying something unique and different. So my opinion on it is try it. If it works for you, then go for it. But it's not something that I'm personally that I would focus on doing. It's a lot of post-production work, but it can look cool. So look, if it looks good and you like doing it, by all means go for it. A lot of wedding clients, I'm sure, bend over backwards. They've never heard of this method. They just look, because they're not photographers, but they'll look at it and go, wow, that's really cool, I want that. They don't care whose method it is. They don't care that it may not be the normal way to do things, because who cares about normal? They just know that they like it. And if they like it, then they hire somebody, because that's what if that makes you unique to try this method, then by all means go ahead and try it. And that's where I'm going to stop that portion of this Raw Talk. Don't forget, tweet this out or put it on Facebook when you say, this is what you can tweet. At FroKnowsPhoto, quote, best of the best of the best with honors, sir. You don't need to put the salute in there. Put that on Facebook. Put that on the Twitter. Let me know that you know that I know that you know that you're watching and listening to Raw Talk. Let me know. Are you watching this on YouTube or are you listening to this on iTunes? Guys, leave a comment somewhere. I'd love to know where you listen to this. Whether you go on the Facebook and say, I listen to Raw Talk on YouTube, I download it, I listen to it on my phone, I use an iPad, I listen to it from iTunes. I'd be curious to see where you guys are listening. Do you like having the option of having it on YouTube? Do you like the podcast? Well, it's always going to be on the podcast for downloadable, but I just added it on YouTube for those who want to sit there at the computer or at work and do it. So that's it, man. Like I said at the very beginning, I want to make the Raw Talks very dynamic. One of the reasons I got the GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition is to see if we can use them for Raw Talks. If I have 3 people, put the camera on everybody and then let it just sync the audio and sync the video in Final Cut and literally just do the take camera 1, take camera 2, take camera 3, and just do that edit type of thing through that. I just want to spice it up a little bit. I don't want to do the same thing that other people do out there. That's my thing. I like doing things different. If people go to the front, I go to the back. There we go again. But that's just my style of doing things, and everybody has their own way. But I just want to keep making these bigger and better, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm going to end this FroKnowsPhoto Raw Talk right here, right now, and just say thank you guys for listening to FroKnowsPhoto Raw Talk. Keep watching, keep listening. Thank you, Fro Nation. Keep up the Fro Nation. Don't forget about the contest that's running to win some stuff. Don't forget about the FroKnowsPhoto Beginner Guide. If you're looking for that, pick it up at FroKnowsPhoto.com/guide. And the holidays are here, so the sales are still going. You can get a 5-shirt special for $50, $49.90 to the 9, and plus shipping. And that's all I got. I'm getting tired now. So I'm going to go play with Fro Vader and start to learn this Canon 6D so I can go out and shoot it and see what I think about it. And there you have it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Thank you guys for listening to this week's FroKnowsPhoto Raw Talk. I hope you got the secret word, but if you didn't, well, it's more than a word. It was like a sentence. It was like a whole thing of How did it go? How's it go? It goes, you best of the best of the best with honors, sir. Without the salute. I know I keep saying without the salute. It's kind of funny, but that was your secret word. Post that up there on the on the Facebook or on the Twitter sphere, and maybe I'll just give something away when you do that to somebody random, which I do often. Give away random video guides and downloads. So there you guys have it. Don't forget to stay and check out FroKnowsPhoto.com/podcast for all of your podcasting needs. Maybe. I don't know. It's where you can listen to each week's episode, or on iTunes. It's good to subscribe there. If you've never been to the YouTube channel, check it out. It's youtube.com/Jared Polin, or just go to FroKnowsPhoto.com, or just go to YouTube and type in FroKnowsPhoto, and you'll find any one of the 1,000+ videos for you guys to learn from for free. Anyway, there you have it, guys. Thank you for listening this week. We'll be back next week. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.